Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we're actually doing something a little different. My husband and I have been actually talking about we wanted to kind of get on here and kind of give you guys our personal experiences and things that we've kind of been seeing in the news that we kind of want to address, just because we feel like maybe we can help someone or something, a situation. The topic today kind of is about the whole overdoses and addiction, and we've been seeing this on the news so much, and it's getting like to the point where it's so ridiculous that it's like, how many people have to die from like these overdoses for people, ourselves, like as human beings? Like, how many times do we have to die? Many of us, okay, hold on, how many of us have to die for us to realize that we need to stop with the whole addictions and stuff? If you have an addiction, you know, I think I'm not coming.
That's hard.
I think I'm not coming off like right.
You're coming off. If you have an addiction, stop it.
No, that's not how I'm trying to say. Like, if you see like signs of it and someone says something to you, try to get help.
It's more. I think what you're trying to say is, it's instead of, you know, so into it, is more like us as individuals. We have to, you know, look out for those signs in people and help them out when they're in need. Like, what was it that you were talking about? That Mac Miller?
Oh, Mac Miller, yeah.
That rapper Mac Miller. And recently there's been a lot, I've seen a lot on the news that there has been a lot of rappers and famous people, but not only rappers and famous people. I mean, you look at the statistics for drug overdoses in the United States, it's insanely high, and I think it's fundamentally in our values that are deteriorating as we age, and the previous generation really not looking out for our generation, and us not really looking out for the next generation, is just a cycle of repetition, I think.
Yeah,
of decline, and especially the drug war hasn't helped out anything. And
but what shocks me is that Demi Lovato went through this, and thank God, you know, she made it to the hospital in time, because that's just scary. Just anybody having an accidental overdose or just situations like that. But it's just so crazy to me that it happened to her, and then look at like Mac Miller. It's been what, a week? It's been like a week, and it's just so crazy. It's like
really a couple days.
Yeah, if you think about it. But it's just, I feel like it's on the headlines all the time. If you know what I mean. Like, that's like the one thing that's like, hey, someone
famous.
Not even famous. It's dying. Just always someone that's dying. If like it's getting shot, or if it's getting addiction, overdoses. Like,
yeah, like a really powerful message that I saw the other day was a mom on Instagram.
What she
said? It was a video of her daughter. She overdosed on heroin, and she was dying. Her last, and I mean, I didn't typically agree with what she did in filming her daughter's last moment.
Tell me about it. I don't know.
Yeah, it was just a mom in the hospital, and her daughter was dying and off an overdose. She was in a coma, and they were taking her off the machines, and she was dying, and she was videotaping it, and she.
I want this to kind of just be super chill. You guys can come on here and just kind of just look, and maybe you can learn something from this. Maybe you can catch signs of other people. I don't know. Maybe this will make you more alert. Yeah. Make you more alert to like what's going on in society today. Drugs have become like, in my honest opinion, drugs have been like
really. It's destroying. I mean, it's the opioid epidemic, and it sucks that, you know, our FDA doesn't work as efficiently as they should, but what can you do? I think it all starts with us. You know, we really got to look. Addiction's a disease. It's not only a disease. It's an optional disease. And I mean, from personal experiences, when I first got out of the military, I've never thought that I'd be addicted to anything in my life. And when I first got out, and I had a lot of...
And you weren't a big believer on addiction.
No, I felt like, you know, most people are just want to be in that state, and those were my beliefs at the time until, you know, I fell in my own addictions. After the military, I was on, you know, around 80 milligrams of Oxycontin a day.
I remember those days. You were like a zombie.
Yeah, I was zombied out, and it was horrible, and took a lot from me, and took a lot from me as well to get out of it. But you can get out of it. Anybody can get out of it.
We just have to want to.
Yeah, a little bit of wanting and a little bit of a slap on the rear from individuals that love you, I guess. And I feel like you can get out of it. I mean, just from that experience, I was a year alone. Well, a whole year, where
you were on the medicine?
On medication. Yeah.
I think it was a little bit over a year and a half.
About a year and a half.
I think you kind of stopped when we moved into this house.
Yeah.
So it's been, what, 2.5 years?
Mm-hmm.
So we were staying at my mom's.
Yeah.
Because he just got out of the military, so we wanted to find a stable home. So we lived there for about a year to make sure that we got the house that we wanted and found the house that we wanted.
Yeah.
So pretty much, I think... Yeah, it was probably a year because it was right before we moved here, and you were just like, I'm throwing all this away when we were moving. We were actually physically moving all of our stuff, and he looks at the counter, and I'm not even lying, shit you not, our counter, like the size of a dresser, right? So imagine that, and pill bottles everywhere. Yeah, there wasn't 10, there wasn't 15, there was like 35 pill bottles that...
Yeah, the VA prescribed to me, yeah.
So I don't understand.
I mean, it's hard. It's it's a case by case kind of thing. But it's I still think it comes down to us to help people. So the biggest problem I've seen lately is not a lot of people help each other.
No, talking about how you got out of it. Like what helped you realize, okay, this is like the wrong path to go. Kind of like the same thing when we were dating. You were like, okay, friends are going this way, I want to go this way. And we've actually been together since we were 18 years old, and he got into the military and he asked me to marry him, and I went with him, and we started a family, and we kind of just started our own life.
My first deployment?
No, I think it was it 6 months into dating where you told me that you were getting into the military, or you were going to the military, you were going to the army?
Around there, yeah.
So, like, around then, he kind of explained to me why he decided to join the military, and it was because certain people in his life were going this way, not the right path, so he's like, you know what, let me get out of here before I really get into trouble, and just go straight. And ever since then, I mean, I feel like he was in the military for like 6.5 years, but how do you feel like how you went that way?
You could bring it back all the way over there, living in Miami. I'm from Miami, and that you don't really grow up to be in the best areas, being a Cuban and migrating from the island there. My brother and me, we were not doing the best of things, and I chose a different path from my friends to join the military, and I feel like everybody can do that. It's kind of the same thing with addiction. Is you got to pick your paths. It's a hard choice, and it's very hard to stay on the path. But I feel like everybody can do it. It's just they need the right people in their lives to keep them in the right direction, And I feel like the problem lies is people aren't being good enough to each other. It's a lot of
we're not kind anymore.
It's a lot of hatred going around, and it's sad to see because a lot of people are in an age. It's weird in an age where there's so much connection. It seems like people are more disconnected. Yeah,
That's a good way of looking at it. And that's
everybody's always on their phones, and
I do feel like today's society, like my son, okay, he's turning 8 this week, and he already asked me for a phone for his birthday.
There's nothing wrong with that, That's
no, there's nothing wrong with that, but it's just I feel like I'm sorry, but at 8 years old, I was not with a phone.
Absolutely not.
At 8 years old, I lived on a 5-acre farm, and we had horses, pigs, chickens, goats, like all of that. And I get it that not everybody had that childhood. You didn't have that.
It's different times too.
Yeah.
I mean, we're so.
I feel like we have evolved a lot, but I do feel like cell phones have kind of like taken over. If you kind of understand my gif.
Not even cell phones. More
Technology.
Social media. I think it's...
Yes.
Even now, it's like we can talk to a bunch of people just sitting here.
Which is pretty cool, I think. Like,
and it's cool, but it has turned us to more, I feel like, an anti-social society. I
can see that.
And it's really, I think it's really taking a toll on us in that, you know, that I think that groups of people that we used to have back, you know, in the 90s or early 2000s, you know, where you could you actually, you know, interacted with people, instead of now it's interacting but not really interacting.
I mean, that's true.
And people can't really see how you are, and I feel like a lot of people, you know, that hurts a lot of people, because look at all the mental issues, all the mental problems that we're having in our society with depression and all that shit. So I think a lot of people use that as a crutch, not as a crutch, but as a force that is driving them towards addiction, because they're trying to look for comfort, I guess. They're trying to look for something that can give them...
I've heard that it's kind of like filling a void.
Yeah.
Did you feel like when you were taking the pills and all that, did you feel like there was a void that you were trying to fill? Because you went from structure, straight line, can't step out of line, because if you do, you would get your ass ringed. Yeah. But you come... out and, like you say, in the civilian world.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. Like you say, in the civilian world,
yeah,
like, it's just crazy. The you didn't have structure, and I feel like that might have been your void.
Yeah, I mean, you could say so. I mean, I could agree to that. Like, I guess, you know, that was a contributing factor in my own addiction issues, where I guess I was trying to fill a void. I mean, I was in pain quite a bit, but I don't think not enough to justify the excessive drug use that I was on.
What sucks is that these were all prescribed to you. It's not like you went in the corner to go pick these pills
I mean,
up.
at the end of the day, it was my own fault for not trusting myself, you know, and falling into the trap. But I could say, you could say that I did use it as a void, or trying to fill something that I didn't have anymore. And I feel like, you know, it's not only soldiers, you know, that go, normal day-to-day people. It's just about loss and I guess your normality, your normal day, or whatever you find that is normal gets ripped from you, or not ripped from you, but you kind of go a different path. You go on a different path, and you realize that path is not as glamorous as you expected it to be, and then you're like, wow, and then you find something to fill the void with, I guess, in my perspective.
I mean, I feel like that makes kind of sense, but everybody has different perspectives.
Oh,
and
yeah,
I feel like everybody is entitled to, like, their way of feeling and their way of the way they got to where they got in their point in their life. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I would have never thought in a million years you would ever become an addict. To be like what you hear right now, I would have never expected that, because you were always a person
I would have never thought that myself.
You were always a person that was just, you can fight addiction, this and this and that, and I feel like you were really strong on that, and then to come to see you, like, for you to physically experience that and go through what you went through and went through the motions that you went through, because that wasn't 4 or 3 months, that was a year you went through that. And I did feel like you were kind of distancing yourself.
I mean, there's a lot of addicts that go through that for not only 1 year, they go through it for
years.
For years and years, you know.
Until they realize.
My father was an alcoholic, and he went through that his entire life, and it killed him. And it sucks to see someone you love, you know, go through something like that, and you can't do shit about it, honestly. And there's a lot of people out there, but I feel like a lot of people, most people, they need help. But it's just, they don't have that ability. But I feel like if we were all just a little bit nicer and actually looked out for people.
Yes.
But but what can you do? Everybody hates everybody nowadays.
And I feel like that has gotten, like, Like, okay, so tell them what I was telling you on the way back from... I did a photo shoot on Friday. I did the makeup. I wasn't in the photo shoot. But when I was coming home and I was talking to you on the phone and I was telling you, I'm like, I don't ever think the government would kill us. Like, if they wanted to reduce population, I really honestly feel that we would kill each other.
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough one to figure out.
I mean, we don't ever know. And it's like, you've seen so many things. Like, why do people, like, it just confuses me. Bath salt. How do you get addicted to bath salt and then eat someone's face off?
I don't think you get addicted. That was funny.
That was not funny.
Only here in Florida, gents.
Like, that was insane to me. Like, the guy's face was gone.
Yeah, he had to have a whole face. I mean, in those situations, I don't really think it's addiction. Obviously, it's addiction, but I think it's like those people that are addicts. Eventually they don't get the same kind of high. You know, either they have to take more drugs or they have to find even more powerful drugs and. Sometimes
something to get to be stronger and stronger and stronger every time.
And eventually you get to, you know, fuck it, I'll try bath salts. And
I would have never in 1,000 years.
And then you're eating someone's face off. Look at these kids that are smoking synthetic marijuana and they're having seizures. It's insane out there. And it's crazy, and I feel like, you know, the war on drugs isn't helping the cause. You should really look into it.
Really sad when someone does, like, it's an accidental overdose.
Yeah,
that really sucks.
The problem is, you know, a lot of drugs that people normally take that they wouldn't overdose on are, for profit's sake, you know, are getting mixed in with fentanyl, and fentanyl is one of the most powerful opioids on the planet, and it's very cheap to produce, and the tiniest amount can kill you, and it's crazy. But you know, I mean, what can you expect from people producing drugs? But they're trying to look for a profit in our own expense. But what can you do? And that's what's happening, you know, to a lot of these people that, you know, they think they're taking whatever it is that they're taking, and boom, all of a sudden you took fentanyl and now you're going to cardiac arrest or something.
I can't. I don't know how to process that. Like, do you feel like back when we were teenagers there was as many overdoses like there is now?
I mean, yeah. I feel like every era has their own, you know, issues with drugs. I think the root issue is the war on drugs. You know, those policies don't really help the stopping drugs. It's kind of redundant.
I mean, I don't think drugs are ever going to really stop. Let's be honest.
No,
like,
drugs will never stop.
They'll probably get worse and worse as years go on.
But that's a whole debate on politics and government that I don't really want to get into because people won't like my opinion. So
it's an opinion, though.
Yeah, everybody has the right to their own opinion. But yeah, I really do think that it just comes down to us as individuals to look out for people. You know, whoever they are. Just a little bit nicer. Be a little bit nicer to everybody.
I feel like if we were just nicer, like, I feel like a smile on someone's face can change someone's entire day. Like, maybe they woke up in a really... Like, okay, example. There was one morning that I really was not in the best mood and I had to go to work, and I'm a hairstylist, so I have to make sure my communication line... Like, I have to make sure I can talk to someone and have, like, a really good conversation with them. And I love my clients and I love having conversations with them, but, you know, you have those days where you don't want to. And I actually went to Starbucks because I was like, you know what, let me start off my morning with a coffee to see if it'll help my day. The person in front of me actually paid for my coffee and it changed my mood the entire day.
Yeah.
Just little acts of kindness. you don't realize the impact it can have on people. Yeah, it was something so simple like a $3 coffee, but it doesn't matter. It's the thought that someone took. They took the time to be like, you know what, can I pay for that person behind me? And I ended up paying for the person behind me. So it was like...
It started a chain.
It starts a chain, I mean, and it's...
It sucks. It's just, you know, there's so much hatred, I guess, nowadays. Mm-hmm. Climate's pretty bad. I don't know. People are...
I feel like if we just smiled at each other more often and said hi and bye and thank you and you're welcome.
I mean, I can't really, you know, be a hypocrite and say, hey, I'm all the time, you know, nice to people. But,
no, you're not. But I mean, everybody has their days, like I said.
But yeah, I feel like, you know, that is something that could help a lot out, is being a lot nicer to people. It starts somewhere there, because I know. My perspectives have changed a lot, you know, and I see...
Your perspectives have changed a ton.
Yeah, I try to see everybody's point of view. But even so, we disagree a lot. You know, everybody disagrees a lot, but we should still, even if you disagree, look out for people.
Absolutely.
And try to find what struggles they're going through like everybody else. And see where they're at in life, and I feel like, you know, we'll be a little bit better off.
And we're not saying like, oh, fix everybody's problems. No, but like, just an act of kindness can change someone's entire.
You can't fix nobody's problems, but yourself, your own problems.
You can make life more we're more kinder to each other. Like, people automatically just want to be just rude just because they want to be rude, but that's not necessary. Yeah. I feel like we were kinder to each other. Maybe, you know, maybe if you smile at someone, maybe they're not going to be hating their job. Like, they'll go into work happier. Like,
probably not.
I mean, just, that's what I'm just trying to say. Like,
unless you work at Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A.
Yes, Chick-fil-A is very good.
Anything else you want to... I think that's it. I mean, we can...
want to add anything else? Hey guys, well, that was our little... I don't know. What do you want to call it? Like...
just a normal life conversation.
Yeah. Like, we wanted to start doing this for a while now, but we just never really knew where to start. It's kind of like a podcast kind of thing, but we kind of talk about things, what people really don't want to touch the subject of.
Yeah.
Like, we kind of want... We want everything to kind of be open. Like, we don't want to have any limits or anything like that. This is why we decided to do it on here. And because we know we can be open to the way that we feel and the way that we think. And everybody is entitled to their own opinion, but everybody likes to hear other people's opinions. So I feel like this is going to be a fun little skit experiment type thing.
Yeah.
I think this will be fun.
People like it. I'll come back. I'll be back.
Like this video, want to see more videos like this, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. And we might actually post videos like this maybe, once a week?
Yeah.
And if you guys really like it, maybe we can even look into doing it twice a week. But for now, we're probably just going to post it once a week just so we can get those topics flowing. And maybe if you guys have any topics you guys want us to talk about and you guys can see our opinion on those type of topics, just leave us a comment down below and we can try to touch topics that you guys refer us to. Like, we can look into it, do our research, and see our thoughts on it.
Don't forget to subscribe.
Yeah, don't forget to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. And I will see you in my next video.
Bye.